Hey folks, today we're talking about managers, agents and bureaus so that you are clear on the differences, because I get approached a lot by speakers who don't really understand what a bureau does. And in fact, I think I'll do another one of these about how to approach bureaus as well. So let's start with managers. Managers are concerned with the future. They're looking ahead, they're looking to see how your career will progress, to see where you're going. And a manager is actually going to be quite easy to get hold of because they are invested in you. They don't normally have many people that they manage. They normally have a handful of people, depending on how much work they're doing for you. They will take a cut of everything that you bring in. So they're speaking, book writing, if you have a day job, whatever you do, they want a cut of everything. So famous managers will be people like Sharon Osbourne, for example, who manages several musicians, and she manages in the music industry. I can't think of any famous managers in the speaking industry, although you could argue that some of the very small and specialised agencies are more management agencies. It's interesting now, actually, that you'll find that a lot of speaker bureaus and agents and managers cross, and they'll have, for certain speakers, they'll do a management activity as opposed to just an agent activity or a bureau activity. It's becoming a bit of a mismatch. I'll put my teeth back in. Managers will work with people who are starting out if they see that there's potential and see if they can develop them. As I said, they get a percentage of everything. There are no legal guidelines for managers that I am aware of. If you're a manager out there and you know different, please let me know. And you've probably heard of stories where big celebrities have lost a lot of money, where their managers have been a bit unscrupulous. So it's an interesting one. Agents, Jerry Maguire, and I can't remember the name of the lady from Friends, but there's the lady from Friends is also an agent. They are all about getting the most money they can for you. Show me the money. And they get a cut, they get a percentage. Agents are actually the most regulated in the industry. If you're thinking about bureaus, agents and managers, agents are the most regulated. You can have an agent for your literary work, you can have an agent for television, you can have an agent for speaking. So you can have several agents who specialise in different things. Rarely does an agent cover all of those. You often, if an agent is in one area, you may end up working with bureaus, or you could have a manager and then still work through agents. But bear in mind, and through bureaus, bear in mind that the manager will still take a percentage of everything. So agents have a cap normally on their percentages, and they're usually 10 to 15%. You'll find that most comedians have an agent if you're trying to get hold of them. Most actors have an agent. And I know we've got people in the group who are agents, and we've actually done an interview with an agent. I've done an interview with an agent in the past with Kay in the group. You might want to go back to, and I'll try and put a link to it so that you can listen to that too. Often the agent's the person who holds diaries, gets involved with logistics, gets involved with handling everything for you in that respect, organising travel. I've got some notes because I have a bad memory. To a certain extent, they prefer to work with people who are proven, who have already got to a certain level. There's always exceptions to every rule, of course. And agents can work with anything from 20 to 150 people, because an agency will often have more than one agent working within the agency. And some of the agencies are huge and separate themselves out. If you look at James Grant, they've changed name recently, actually. I've forgotten what it is, but anyway, they'll have sports agents, they'll have film agents, they'll have comedy agents. So you've got different people specialising on different things. So, and you are likely to get work from your agent. So if you've got an agent, answer the phone when they call you. Speaker bureaus. Now, you see, there's a lot of myths, there's a lot of misunderstandings around speaker bureaus. Speaker bureaus, think of them as a warehouse. A speaker bureau has so many speakers. We've got over 4,500 speakers on our books. I think Speakers Corner, last time I looked, was over 6,000, might be even more now. And I think JLA was like 14,000. Anyway, bureaus have thousands of speakers on the books. And this is part of the problem. If you are listed with a bureau and you're expecting to get business, you may not, because there's so many speakers. And why do you have so many speakers on there? Because you're giving the client choice. And although you're called a speaker bureau, your client isn't the speaker. Your client is the person paying the money. So it sounds like you're serving the client, but the speaker, you're not. The agent's looking after the speaker, the manager's looking after the speaker. The bureau is more concerned with the client and with filling that client's brief. So it's much harder to get their attention. It's much harder to get a lot of bookings out of bureaus. And we'll talk more about bureaus again another time because it's such a big topic. But so it's a bit like an estate agent, if you like, that they have lots of different, and you can have speakers listed with more than one bureau in the same way that estate agents will have houses listed with more than one agency. Bureaus do not charge to list you. If they charge to list you, they're not a speaker bureau in the traditional sense. They're probably a marketing company, and that's fine as long as you're clear on what you're going to get. That's fine, and actually, it's a good model if you're wanting someone to sell you and market you. Absolutely fine, but the traditional model, the speaker bureau, does not charge to list you. However, they take a cut. They take a percentage of the fee when they've then sold you. They will take the fee on your behalf, and they will then pay you the net less the commission. And commissions vary depending on the fee level, so they can go from 5% if the fee is very high, up to 50% if the fee is very low, because most bureaus need to have a minimum fee level to cover their overheads. Often bureaus will work with bigger names, and most bureaus will list bigger names, celebrities in their industries, celebrities themselves, and adventurous sports people, etc., etc. They will also list people who are lesser known, but usually people who are lesser known, they want to take them on once they have already established themselves and are already making money and are already successful. And it's much easier for a bureau. It's very unlikely that a bureau will take somebody on who is not ready. Speaker bureau ready is another huge topic, but I'm going to break that down and we'll do some videos on that in the future. What else am I missing? I think I've covered most things, but bear in mind that if you do approach a speaker bureau, to do it right, there is a download actually on the website. If you go to speakingbusinessacademy.com, free stuff, there's a download on how to approach a speaker bureau when you're ready. Because if you do it wrong, you're just scuppering your chances, because we get approached every single day by so many speakers. So you want to get, not only do you want to get our attention, but you actually want to then have a conversation and get it right first time. So download that. And I think I've covered most points. Any questions, please put them in the comments. Cheers.